Oh, there you are, YouTube. I hate to give this movie a one take, but I think that's what's going to happen because I'm really tired, but freaked. I have sort of a history with this movie because I watched it on Cinemax, I think it was, because I don't think we had HBO at the time. I'm pretty sure I watched it multiple times as a kid on Cinemax, and I thought it was so funny and gross and hilarious and just had a real MTV vibe to it, like MTV, like 80s, 90s MTV, when they would have those crazy, I don't know, it wasn't like an intro, but like logos or whatever that would like move around. I'm guessing whoever made those like claymation MTV logos probably worked on this movie. I didn't look it up, but I did see they gave that person a lot of credit in the credits. So perhaps that is that person. But I don't know, this movie, it's about mutation, but done by like the sideshow, or I think, what does he call it? He calls it Freakland, like a freak show sort of environment that he has created. Randy Quaid plays this character, and he takes travelers that pass his freak show and then mutates them to become sideshows at his carnival or whatever. And it was directed by Alex Winter and two other guys, and written by Alex Winter. You know Alex Winter from Bill and Ted. He is Bill, and he also stars in the film, and it's his story that we follow, where we see him get mutated by Randy Quaid and added to his stable of freaks in the movie. But this movie has so many sight gags in it. I need to look up like what kind of comedy this is, because it is just bizarre. A lot of sight gags, like I said, but there are things to where it's like, for no reasonable explanation, things happen and there's no explanation, and things just continue to move forward. It's just absurd humor, and I found it really funny as a kid. And I haven't probably seen it since I was in high school. And around that time, maybe junior high, high school, or something like that, me and my best friend were just sitting around, and one of us like quoted the movie. And then like I looked at him or he looked at me, I don't remember who said it, and we're like, wait a second, you know that movie? It's a movie that just, it seems like people don't know about it. So it was like weird that he knew about it, but I didn't know he knew about it, or the other way around. I knew about it and he didn't know I knew about it. And we were just kind of like, wait a second, have we never talked about this before? We both know this movie enough to quote it. And we sort of, just went through life from that point forward, quoting it to one another, being thankful that we know about this movie. Because I don't think I've known anyone else that knew it except he and I. And we have this favorite scene where the freaks are trying to gain entrance into the lab where Randy Quaid makes them, and they need to be very quiet, but they're making all sorts of racket, all sorts of noise, and it's like, uh-oh, is he going to hear us? Is he going to hear us? And, we won't be able to break into this lab, and he's not hearing them. All these loud crashing sounds, motors and things like that are going off, and he's just, watching his TV. But then there's this point when somebody accidentally knocks over a styrofoam cup, and it falls to the ground in slow motion and then bounces around, and you hear nothing. If anything, it is the softest bit of sound you've ever heard. And then Randy Quaid turns around from his, room in the next building over and goes, "Styrofoam cup." And what I just did, I'm sure, is not funny. You're not laughing at it. But in the movie, it is hilarious. And I probably shouldn't have even told you the joke, because it would have been good if you have never seen this movie to see it without me mentioning it. So I probably just ruined what I think is one of the funniest gags in the entire movie. But there are all sorts of people in this movie. Brooke Shields is in it. I mentioned Alex Winter, Bill from Bill and Ted, and Randy Quaid and Bobcat Goldthwait is in it, does a voice and shows up briefly. He plays Sockman or something like that, a guy who was mutated into a sock hand puppet. And there's Mr. T. Yeah, Mr. T is in it. Death from Bill and Ted, that actor whose name is escaping me right now. Keanu Reeves, who's not credited, but he is in it as the dog boy. And I'm guessing he, just did it as a favor. It makes me wonder if Death did it as a favor too. Is he credited or not? Look into that. I'd like to know. But yeah, Keanu Reeves is not credited at all. And I looked for the special thanks section, in the credits section to see if his name was there. Didn't see it at all. Oh, that's another reason why we watched this. This was a part of our Keanu Reeves marathon. But Keanu's in it quite a bit because, you would think like with a role as big as he had, he's gone for a lot of it, but for as big as his role is, you would think he would be credited. You would never know it's him, but the voice is spot on. And when you know it's him, you can see him behind all the makeup and everything. But yeah, this movie just has a really fun cast and a lot of fun mutations. And there's this kid they call the Troll. He is hilarious. They have him decked out with some dentures, some sort of buck teeth and extra big ears and just some wild style. And he is just like such an annoying person, and he is in love with Alex Winter's character because Alex Winter's character is a former child star who this little kid, absolutely adores him and loves him and sort of wants him to be on the straight and narrow, but Alex Winter's character is, trying to work for an evil chemical company, basically. And I don't know, they just have this hate relationship. Well, the kid loves Alex Winter's character, but Alex Winter hates the kid. But then, there are reasons why they have a symbiotic, is that the right word? I don't know. To where they have to care about each other. And it's nice and it's funny. But man, the special effects, the creature effects, the makeup, all of this is so good. The sets of the Carnival Freak Show, Freakland is what it's called, are great, and I love the sight gags. It's such absurd humor. It's stuff you would come up with in junior high or high school, which is why I think I loved it so much as a kid. I like it today. It did feel like it's a quick movie. Like, it's quick as in its runtime, but I feel like it did run a little bit longer than I remembered. But that could have been also because I was a little bit nervous because I was showing it to my wife and it seemed like the exact thing that she would not like. So I was a little worried, what's she going to think of this? And she was just kind of just watched it without any feelings, I guess. Afterwards I was like, did you like it? And she was just kind of like, one of your movies. But yeah, I don't know. If you've never seen it, check it out. It's, I think, very funny. And the makeup, the sets are worth the watch. All the sight gags are worth the watch. And I think I'm going to leave it at that. I wish I could give this more, but I am very tired, and perhaps I'll see you tomorrow for more Pure Hangout.